This is where we effed up. Gotta go back down. All right, so right here, that's the ridge of Gilbrader. We went up that way, the wrong way, which we couldn't even probably have summited Gilbrader if we wanted to. We tried to cross the snowfield right there because we need to go up right here. If you had crampons and an ice axe, this would be easy. But the snow is so soft that spikes are pretty much useless and it's very slippery. We're gonna make one more attempt to go up these rocks in the middle, and if we don't get it after that, we're gonna call this a hike fail. We've been off route way too many times already. We should have been at the glacier by now. Hate to do this, but the snow is too soft and these crevices are too deep. I already broke a ice sheet and you never know how far down it is. We just don't have the right gear today. I don't say this often, but this is going to be a hike fail. Live to hike another day. All right, we're here at Whiskey Lake, maybe Scotch Lake, either way, unofficially named. After that hike fail, I think I'm gonna see if there's any whiskey in this water. All right, not a complete hike fail though. We got another new lake, Lake Dunraven, which is awesome. And for this occasion, I always wanted to drink whiskey at Whiskey Lake, or Scotch Lake, whichever one we're at. Bird Dog whiskey. Cheers.
Enjoyable for me until I have to go across water, and then it's like the worst thing ever.
It's thundering pretty bad now. Choose your own bushwhack. We're still naming for the unnamed ponds, staying out of the meadow, and hopefully the bushwhack's not too bad. See you at the campsite shortly. Upper Lost Lake campsite, number 1, elevation 10,740 feet. There are 4 different campsites located around Lost Lake, 2 upper and 2 lower. The 2 upper campsites do have a privy, but the 2 lower campsites do have a little bit of better access to the lake. We camped out here July 3rd and July 4th. The weather was on and off, rainy and sunny. Lots of flies and lots of mosquitoes at the campsites, but that's kind of what you get when you're backpacking out in the wilderness and remote areas. Got to visit 4 new named lakes on this trip, which is awesome. First one being Lost Lake. After we dropped our packs at our campsite and set up tent, we went for a quick hike up to Lake Husted and Lake Louise. That trip was about 2.7 miles with 500 feet of total elevation gain round trip from the Lost Lake campsite. On our second day there, we woke up early for sunrise and decided to head towards Lake Dunraven. Reaching Lake Dunraven was an extremely difficult hike that required a lot of route finding, a lot of bushwhacking, some class 2 climbing, and some sketchy stream crossings. Once at Lake Dunraven though, the reflections from Middle No Name Peak across the lake were just magnificent and made it all worth it. If you make it to Lake Dunraven and the weather looks good, there are two unofficially named amazing lakes right above it named Scotch and Whiskey Lakes. While visiting Rose Glacier was my goal for the day, the snow and the ice fields up to it had different plans. We didn't have the gear, so we just called it a hike fail, but it's still just an amazing area. We hiked to Lost Lake from the Dunraven trailhead, located in the Roosevelt National Forest, which the trail quickly turns into Comanche Peak Wilderness, and then about 4.5 miles into that trail, you enter Rocky Mountain National Park. The hike to the Lost Lake Campground from the Dunraven trailhead is about 10 miles with about 3,000 feet of total elevation gain. Plenty of opportunities to get water on the way if you're filtering, which you should be, along the North Fork Big Thompson River. Wilderness camping in Rocky Mountain National Park is by permit only, and you can only camp in designated areas. You can't just pitch a tent wherever you want out in the wilderness. This year, permits were based on a lottery system after 2 failed attempts of trying to do the reservation system online through recreation.gov due to the website crashing. Reservations historically start in March, but contact the wilderness office for when the next year's reservations are going to open. Last minute backcountry camping permits can sometimes be obtained if you visit the wilderness office. Not everyone picks up their permits. Some people cancel. So try your luck if you just want to camp in Rocky Mountain National Park. You never know what you may get. Check the wilderness offices for more info on that. 2.2 miles from Lost Lake is one of the most magnificent waterfalls I've ever seen in Rocky Mountain National Park, Lost Falls. There's no signage for this turnoff, but it's about 0.2 miles south of the Signal Mountain Trail Junction. Descend off trail for over 100 feet and just follow the sound of the waterfall. This is a magnificent waterfall, but the terrain is very dangerous. Photographers will have to use extreme caution as the slightest slip or fall trying to get the best angle of the waterfall could be deadly or even fatal. We also saw a bear on our way back up from Lost Falls, but he was pretty skittish and too fast, and I couldn't get the camera ready in time to get him on film. Also heading back to the Dunraven trailhead, we ran into 2 moose on the trail, which is crazy, but yeah, the end.